one of the most important things I think Jamaica can do, and this is a challenge for the minister, and he knows where I'm headed, is on GSAT, okay? It's too early to test. What Jamaica needs to be doing is pushing that test later. My objective is to help Jamaica reach the PISA benchmarking, which is measuring Jamaican students at 15 years old for the Program for International Students Assessment. And that program looks at whether the student is competent in mathematics, in reading, and in science at age 15. That would encourage your 15-year-olds, because there's something to work towards at age 15, that would encourage students to stay in school for the long haul. We're willing to help you get there. It costs a lot of money to introduce PISA, but it is an international exam. We can do benchmarking across the world. Currently, the CXC is only a regional benchmark. We need to break out of that. Jamaica needs to be internationally benchmarking its students. That's my point for this morning. I also want to join the bandwagon on the lifelong learning issue, because I think this is really important, and I want to share a quote from Mahatma Gandhi that I really like, which is, live as if you are going to die tomorrow, learn as if you're going to live forever. And I think we heard from Minister Reid how the global environment within which the Jamaican economy is functioning is changing so rapidly that the skills that we need for the workplace are very, very different from the skills that currently exist. And I think he painted a very good picture of why we need to push the envelope as far as it can to make sure that we get to 100% literacy, and not just literacy where you can read a sentence, but comprehension, the ability to analyze critically, and that's where we need Jamaican students and Jamaican learners to be, finally. So the Foundation's vision for an educated, knowledge-based adult population that is empowered through lifelong learning opportunities so that they can take responsibility for their lives and contribute positively to the social, moral, and economic development of the country is a vision that the IDB shares. It's a shared vision we have. Our vision for Jamaica and for the Caribbean is to improve lives by creating vibrant economies where people are safe, productive, and happy. I think it's speaking to the whole person. It's speaking to what's really needed in the Caribbean. Minister Reid pointed out that with the anemic economic growth that Jamaica is experiencing, we need to raise productivity levels, so we want to be more productive. We want every Jamaican to feel safe. Right now, there's far too much violence in the society, gender-based violence. I also want to acknowledge Minister Reid's courageous statement about incest, and that there are some aspects of culture and society that we need to address openly in order to be able to deal with that problem. One of the fundamental pillars for advancing the vision we have is by ensuring that the population has access to education and learning opportunities from childhood through to adulthood. We believe in empowerment through knowledge, research, training, and education. This is because development, productivity, and lifelong learning are all interconnected. Within this context, I want to share a story, a study that was done on the Mexican economy in 2014, and it was entitled Towards a National Framework of Lifelong Learning in Mexico. And I think it's a pertinent example because Mexico is an emerging economy. It's within our region, it's in Latin America and the Caribbean, and it's a country which had a lot of development challenges, continues to have a lot of development challenges, but it's on its way to being a very vibrant economy. It already is. The study points out that Mexico is one of the few countries in the Latin American region that has laid the groundwork from which to now complete the advances into a cohesive lifelong learning framework. A lifelong learning agenda aims to build a coherent skills development, a national framework to improve the productivity of the Mexican workforce and the competitiveness of the economy. This is particularly important for Mexico, which is the 14th largest economy in the world and produces 60% of all of the exports of this region. The study points to the need for Mexico to take the leap into a lifelong learning system that truly supports productivity and growth. Policymakers warn of a range of obstacles that must be overcome. Compounded by a slowdown in GDP and productivity, only a small percentage of Mexico's GDP is concentrated in very highly productive enterprises. The majority of workers have very low levels of productivity. Average annual growth was only between 0.55% between 2005 and 2012, which undermines any attempt to improve the country's competitiveness. By contrast, by way of comparison, Jamaica's productivity levels are even much lower in terms of growth, labor productivity. However, the study found that there was a mismatch between worker skills and the needs for the productive sector, which also influences growth through adverse effects on labor productivity. Almost half of Mexican employers report difficulty in filling vacancies because of the lack of candidates with the right skills for the job. I think this all sounds very familiar also in the Jamaican economy. Aware of these serious constraints to future performance, the Mexican government has made productivity a centerpiece of its development strategy. Lifelong learning is a critical element of this policy thrust. The challenge going forward is how to propel the institutional and policy changes needed to achieve its lifelong learning aspirations. To explore how to leverage public investments in education, training, and active labor market strategies to support state, regional, and national economic and workforce development goals towards sustainable productivity growth. And we heard a lot about that this morning. In order to achieve this, our study cited the need for big picture thinking and big picture changes. Importantly, it pointed out that countries that adopt skills development strategies that are aligned to an economic growth strategy design education and training programs in partnership with the productive sector, and offer workplace learning opportunities tend to have a more productive workforce and more developed economies. And so as the Jamaican government embarks on its ambitious growth initiative, it is vital to ensure that the growth goals are tied to education, training, and lifelong learning. This is why I'm very happy about the new IDB regional project of which Jamaica is a part. New economic employment opportunities for youth, NEO, that the minister mentioned earlier. Jamaica is the first English-speaking country to participate in this program in the IDB. The core objective of NEO is training youth for in-demand positions in the marketplace. The Latin American and Caribbean region has 148 million young people between the ages of 15 and 29, who make up 40% of the working age population. Yet 1 in 5 youth is neither working nor studying. In Spanish, we call them the ninis. They're neither working, they're neither employed. And of those who are working, 60% are in informal jobs. Clearly, that's way too low for informality, or too high for informality. In addition, 50% of those who do not complete high school lack the basic competencies that jobs require. And we've heard a lot about this today, about the Jamaican situation. At the same time, the region's companies are experiencing serious challenges in finding and retaining the employees they need to grow and succeed. A 2013 Manpower survey found that 41% of firms reported difficulty finding qualified workers, and 80% said that job candidates lack basic life skills. This is why lifelong learning is important. It engenders the hope that even if your high school or college career were not successful, you can still improve your life through learning new skills, and importantly, skills that are needed in the marketplace. This is why, under the NEO project, approximately 1 million young adults up to age 29 will receive training in areas that the economies across the region actually need. And in Jamaica, we have targeted 5,000 young people. This NEO project is being funded from a grant from the IDB and other private sector partners, which now gives me an opportunity to just say one brief thing about why I'm actually here, because I was asked to talk about how to tap into donor funds. The IDB, as you know, has been a partner with Jamaica for over 45 years. We've been working across many sectors. We've been working in education for a long time. And we mostly work through financing the public sector as well as the private sector. The IDB does have a small window for funding through grants. And basically, we're looking at projects that would include access to finance, infrastructure for competitiveness, innovation, technology, and trade, social inclusion, and green growth. Across these areas, we can fund grants to support small, medium enterprises, finance and capital markets projects, Under infrastructure for competitiveness, we have energy, transportation, water, and sanitation type initiatives. Under innovation, technology, and trade, we have areas in agriculture, tourism, manufacturing, and other ICT projects. And of course, for green growth, we have projects for adaptation, biofuels, renewable energies, and other projects. It's really very much a privilege for me to be here along with the Japanese ambassador, because Japan is a major partner with the IDB, and we can leverage resources, grant resources normally from Japan, to blend with our resources to make funding of projects a lot cheaper. So finally, I just want to say this has been an amazing morning. It's very much heartening in this field of development, where we're working mostly with a lot of policy reforms and concepts to actually find that there is impact on transforming lives. And today, the stories of Mr. Young and the other lady brings home to mind what we're actually working to achieve. And I'm happy to say that Mr. Young seems to have moved through the IDB CSJP program here in Jamaica, and that makes me really proud. The IDB is very happy to be supporting all of the initiatives of the Jamaican government, and today is a very special day. I'm happy to be here on celebrating the 50th anniversary of UNESCO's International Literacy Day. So thank you all very much.